The final category, category D. Hindus have a toolbox that is a palette of ideas handed over to us by our rishis. This has been appropriated for mind sciences, mindfulness, meditation, neurosciences, etc. Because I've mentioned that a lot of our techniques, tools, ideas have been appropriated and turned into Western science without acknowledging the Hindu sources. He says, but what exactly is the problem in allowing others to use them? How would Hinduism lose? Good question. Question is, if somebody takes yoga and says this is Christian yoga, so what? If somebody takes the whole philosophy of Devi, all the philosophy of goddess, and then puts it on to Mother Mary and says that's the goddess, so what? What is wrong? The issue is this. If it's done accurately, authentically, of course it's wonderful. But they cannot do it authentically and properly because it does not fit. It is contraindicated. It's like you take a certain medicine, the doctor says you can't take caffeine, you can't take alcohol, it's contraindicated. You have to give up something, you have to change your lifestyle. So to take yoga properly, to take bhakti properly, you have to look at the whole ecosystem of your lifestyle and make it compatible. You cannot just to make it fit into the Christian lifestyle. What is often going on is they're distorting the bhakti. They're taking out those aspects of Devi which will not fit. They're downgrading Devi to fit the male god. So they are doing injustice because they're doing a cut and paste. They take out something here, something there and bring it in, but they cannot bring the entire system because it won't fit. Similarly with yoga. They will, in the Ashtanga Yoga, the Christian yoga goes up to a certain point, a certain chakra, but where it is unity consciousness, they have a very big difficulty because their unity consciousness would violate their philosophy, their Nicene Creed. The idea of sin cannot be removed. Sin cannot be removed with yoga. So sin is a human condition, it's a genetic condition in Christianity. It cannot be, you can become a better person. You can become but then ultimately you have to go to Jesus, surrender to Jesus to get rid of your sin. So what they're doing is taking our bhakti, our yoga and various other things and bringing them into their framework. Now as far as mindfulness, meditation and neuroscience and these things are concerned, they're secularizing. They're secularizing, so in other words, they're getting rid of the divinity aspect in order to fit their concept of science where these things don't fit. So the problem I have is not that others will benefit. I want them to benefit. The problem I have is the distortion required to fit their framework. If you take something from one framework, if you take dosa and you tell a Punjabi chef who knows how to make parantha that you try to make a South Indian parantha. So what he'll do is he will try to make it the parantha style, but a real good dosa expert will not like it because he's compromised. He's tried to change this to make it look like something else. This is what is wrong with Christian yoga and Mary Bhakti and things like that they are compromising the integrity of the Hindu Vedic system in order to make it fit something else. And that is the reason I feel bad about it. And as far as the secularization is concerned, they have to get rid of any ideas of divine, any ideas of transcendence, any ideas of Bhagavan, Ishwar, Paramatma, Shiva, any of that. They have to get rid of all that in order to make it fit the mandates of what they call science. And that to me is a distortion. They want the benefits because they know these things work. But they want the benefits in their own framework. This is the conflict. Final question. In your book, The Battle for Sanskrit, could you please explain the insider versus outsider views? What makes Sanskrit unique vis-a-vis Greek or Latin? Is it alive, liberating and sacred? The language was very dear to our Gurudev and his gurus. How can we prevent the outsourcing of Sanskrit? Why is Sanskrit important? Now, that question is basically the summary of the whole book. So I'm not going to give you a 500-page answer. You have to read that in the book. The book, The Battle for Sanskrit, is Sanskrit dead or alive? Because they're claiming it is dead. We are claiming it is alive. We are using it all the time. It is a living language for us. Is it liberating, which we say it is, or is it oppressive, which is what they say? the Western Indologists. It is oppressive. It's created a caste system. Shudras are not allowed to have Sanskrit. Women were not allowed. This is all not correct. Is it sacred? We say it is sacred. According to them, it is not sacred. It is not a sacred language. So these are the difference. There are three arguments, and this book takes the stand supporting our tradition on those three arguments. And the reason it is different from Greek or Latin is also explained. The idea of shabd, the idea of vibration, the idea of mantra, and the relationship of mantra to pran. That mantra is not just an ordinary word. You cannot take an ordinary word like microphone and say, okay, I will chant microphone, and because that's not a vibration that the Sanskrit, that the rishis have discovered to have the right effect. When you are chanting a mantra, it's the vibrational benefit also, not just the intellectual meaning. So it's good to translate and know what it means in English, but not replace the original Sanskrit mantra by only English. Okay, this is why I don't like when they say you don't have to say Om, just say Amen, or put Allah or something like that and get rid of the Om. Because it's not just a conceptual meaning that can be replaced with another one. It's also a vibration, and that vibration is part of every cell in you. That vibration is not only in the microcosm, but it is in the macrocosm. That same vibration is the basis, the foundation, the fabric of the whole universe. So you cannot translate Sanskrit. Certain words of Sanskrit are non-translatable. So I have 2 minutes left, and I'm very thankful that I just managed to finish on time. I really appreciate the wonderful audience, the attention that you've given to what I have to say. Thank you very, very much. And Swamiji, once again, pranam to you. Thank you so much for listening. Aryans.
Yeah.
Okay.
So could you talk about that?
Okay. So I have a Facebook Live. About a month or so ago, I gave a Facebook Live. It's recorded on my website, on the Facebook page, on this issue, on the Aryan Dravidian issue, because somebody in Mumbai is starting a TV serial on the Aryan invasion. They're going to support this Western view of Aryan invasion, make a TV series out of it to misinform our people, and I'm quite upset, so I did that. But in a nutshell, this idea that Sanskrit was brought from overseas by a group of people who were named Aryans, and somewhere in Europe or Central Asia, Russia, or wherever these guys came from, they came, and the Indian people, they are named Dravidians, and there was a clash between them. And so these Aryans, who were Sanskrit people who had the Vedas, they intermarried, but they wanted to have segregation just like they have in America, so with different races. So the castes were created to keep the Brahmins more pure and in control of the Vedas and Sanskrit, and the others were the Shudras. So this is how the theory has come up. Now when Max Muller came up with this theory in the 1800s, nobody in India was made aware of it. So it flourished for almost 50 years, 75 years before Indians even found out about it. And nobody challenged it. Indians weren't empowered to challenge it. And so over a period of time, Indian elite, westernized people, English-speaking people were raised on it. I was also raised on it. But there is no scientific evidence for this. Recently, in fact, yesterday or day before, on my Facebook page, I put up a new article that somebody has posted, which shows the latest findings on using genetics and other information on how from Africa the people evolve and move to different countries, different parts of the world, and how they come to India, and from India they move out. So if you look at that kind of information, there is no Aryan invasion. There is a lot of movement of people inside and outside, even now going on. There's foreigners coming and living in India, and people from India like us coming and living here. I mean, there was trade going on, and there were people from all over the world coming into India, and people from India going all over the world. So flow of people is going on. In that sense, genetic mixing is going on. There is no doubt about that. But there is nothing this has to do with Sanskrit and Vedas being brought from somewhere else. And the arguments are huge. The Sanskrit texts describe flora and fauna which is Indian. They describe huge rivers from big mountains going into the ocean, and those kind of things you don't find in the other places. The Central Asian places which are said to be the origin don't have a big sagar. They don't have a big ocean. You know, they don't have tall mountains. They don't have that. And the type of animals being described, you know, the Indian animals are described. There's snakes, there's peacocks, there's tigers, lions, all these kind of things. The things that are described, the kind of food that is being eaten, it's all from the Indian geography. So it is quite clear that this is sort of a made-up thing. Unfortunately, Max Miller is still worshipped in India. There is this Max Miller Bhavan in Delhi, and recently they had his 100th year or whatever centenaries of some sort they were celebrating, and all the big shots in Delhi, VIPs, all came and praised, you know, Max Miller, great guy. Our inferiority complex is that whenever a Westerner talks about us and he gives a little bit of praise, we are so impressed that we accept everything he has to say, even though it contains poison pills inside. Yeah. So in my book, The Battle for Sanskrit, I've taken on today's equivalent of Max Miller, a man called Sheldon Pollock, who has written a lot of things about Sanskrit, very hardworking and very intelligent. But in all the great praise for Sanskrit, there are these little poison pills about oppressiveness. You know, it is gender biased, it is caste biased, you know, all this divinity that they talk about is voodoo, is toxic. He keeps putting all that. So, but outwardly nicely packaged. So most Indians don't even know this because they've never bothered reading it. And they're bringing these things, translating his works into all kind of languages and trying to bring them in, making him in charge of translating 500 volumes of our texts. And Sringeri Shankaracharya was in the process of endowing chairs of Adi Shankara studies with this person in control. And so I had to intervene. Take a lot of heat, get a lot of attacks. But in the process, I'm very happy that many of these things slowed down. And the Shankaracharya chair is not going to fund any chair for these people to control. So we have to fight back. This whole Aryan theory also, these people, the one I'm criticizing, they are supporting the Aryan theory, the Aryan Dravidian divide. Now, it is not only wrong because it is technically wrong, factually wrong. It is also wrong because the intentions are wrong. The intentions are to divide us and keep us fighting. And to have NGOs that fund one group against the other. The entire Tamil Nadu politics, Dravidian politics, is based on this sham. Until 100 years ago, until 75 years ago, nobody in Tamil Nadu thought they are Dravidians. The Tamil literature goes back a couple thousand years. It does not talk about themselves as Dravidians. It does not talk about being attacked by foreign Aryans. How could such a great literature miss such a huge calamity if it had happened? You would think that the Tamil classics and the Tamil literature would be full of hatred for these Aryan Brahmins and this and that. None of that happens. It's all a modern era creation. This idea of Dravidianism, which has become very solid in Tamil politics, you will not find that word mentioned in their own literature 100, 200 years ago. It is a recent thing. So I am glad you raised this, and our young students should go and fight back and argue back. They won't change unless you put enough pressure. But now you have social media, you have websites, you have blog sites, you should write articles, you should quote this page number of this book, AP World History says this, and here is my answer to it. And then they will begin to respect us when we come from a position of strength. Thank you for raising this question. Thank you very much, Swamiji. Thank you, everybody.